Some loves arrive gently, quiet, warm, and patient. Ours didn't. Ours came like venom, slow at first, a sting on the skin, a burn beneath the surface, a taste you can't spit out no matter how hard you try. I used to believe that love was supposed to be pure, safe, healing, but the night I met Avery Hale, everything I believed about love collapsed. Because how do you walk away from a woman who feels like danger, yet looks at you like you're the only person who's ever mattered? How do you reject someone whose smile ruins your logic? Whose touch wakes the parts of you you've spent years suppressing? Whose presence feels like a secret you've been dying to keep? My name is Dr. Selene Ward, 32, cardiothoracic surgeon, engaged, stable, disciplined, or at least I was, until Avery, the stunning actress with a reputation for breaking hearts, kissed me at a party I wasn't supposed to enjoy, on a night I wasn't supposed to feel anything for anyone else. I should have forgotten her. I should have erased the moment entirely. But fate has a twisted sense of humor. Because the woman who ruined my engagement with a single kiss is the same woman I'm now forced to work with. Every single day, in a hospital partnership neither of us asked for. Love isn't always sweet. Sometimes it's poisonous. And this is where our story begins. The hotel rooftop was supposed to be a celebration of my perfect life. My upcoming wedding, my career, my stability. Instead, it became the night everything started to unravel. The city lights sparkled below as my friends cheered. Music thumping through the cool evening air. I smiled, but only because I was expected to. Inside, I felt tired, hollow, like I was living a life chosen for me, not by me. "Relax, Selene," my maid of honor laughed, handing me a drink. "You're getting married in 2 weeks. Let yourself breathe." I tried. I really did. Then she appeared, a woman in a backless velvet dress, dark hair cascading down her shoulders, lips painted in a shade of red that felt illegal. She didn't blend with the crowd, she swallowed it whole. Her eyes found mine across the rooftop, and for a moment the noise drowned out. The world shrank. I forgot I was supposed to be the bride-to-be. She walked toward me with slow, confident steps like she already knew the effect she had. "Congratulations," she said, voice smooth as wine. I blinked, confused. "Do we know each other?" "Not yet." She smiled, a dangerous curve. "But you look like you need saving from your own party." Before I could argue, she took my hand and pulled me toward the secluded corner of the rooftop, away from the lights, away from expectations, away from every part of myself that followed rules. I should have stopped her. I didn't. "Why are you here?" I whispered. "Because you looked lonely," she replied. "And loneliness attracts me." My heart shouldn't have reacted. My body shouldn't have leaned closer. But her presence felt hypnotic, wrong, and right in the same breath. And then she kissed me. Soft at first, curious, testing, then deeper, as if she needed to breathe me in, memorize me, claim a piece of me I didn't know was claimable. The world spun. My ring felt heavy on my finger. My conscience screamed, but my heart was silent. Or maybe it was finally speaking. When she pulled away, her lips were still inches from mine. "You taste like someone who's pretending to be happy," she whispered. Before I could ask her name, before I could even understand what I had just done, she slipped back into the party, disappearing into the sea of people like she never existed. And I was left standing there, breathless, guilty, and aching for a stranger's kiss. A kiss I wasn't supposed to remember. A kiss I wouldn't forget. The next morning, I woke with a headache. Not from alcohol, but from guilt. I stared at the engagement ring on my finger, twisting it slowly like it might fall off if I turned it enough times. Leo, my fiancé, was still asleep beside me, peaceful and unaware of the storm growing in my chest. I should have told him. I didn't. Instead, I dragged myself to the hospital, convincing myself that last night was a momentary lapse, a glitch in my perfectly structured life. A kiss with a stranger, a mistake. People make mistakes. Surgeons are human too, right? But the moment I stepped into the cardiology wing, I felt the air shift. Nurses whispered. Doctors typed slower. Everyone's attention was pulled toward a woman standing beside the nurse station. Her, the stranger from the rooftop. Same waves of dark hair, same hypnotic eyes, same dangerous softness in her smile. Except today, she wasn't wearing a velvet dress. She was wearing a visitor badge and a tailored blazer. She looked up, and our eyes collided like an aftershock. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. She walked toward me, her steps confident, precise, like she had rehearsed this moment. "Good morning, Dr. Ward." Her voice was warm honey with a hint of mischief. A chill ran down my spine. "You know my name." She tapped her badge. "Avery Hale, Film and Media Partner, Ward Memorial Hospital Charity Program." My stomach dropped. "You're our new partner?" My voice came out thinner than I liked. Her smile widened. "Surprise." I felt the floor tilt. Of all the hospitals in the city, of all the programs to be assigned to, of all the people I could have kissed without thinking, it had to be her. "It seems like fate wants another meeting," Avery said, her eyes gliding over my face too slowly, too knowingly. I opened my mouth, but she leaned in just enough for only me to hear. "Don't worry, Dr. Ward, I'm very good at keeping secrets." My heartbeat stuttered. She pulled back, giving me a professional handshake, as if she hadn't kissed me like she owned my soul last night. The nurses tried not to stare. My pulse monitor beeped too loudly behind us, matching my nerves. Then Avery spoke again, her tone light but her eyes wicked. "I'll be working closely with you for the next several months." A beat, very closely. She turned and walked away, leaving a faint scent of jasmine and danger in her wake. And just like last night, I was left breathless, guilty, and wanting more. Every surgeon has a weakness. Some fear losing a patient. Some fear making the wrong cut. Some fear not being good enough. But I feared her. The rest of the morning moved like a slow-motion disaster. Meetings, rounds, paperwork, everything blurred together because every time I looked up, Avery was somewhere within sight. Talking to nurses, chatting with the board director, smiling at interns who blushed too fast for their own good. She fit into the hospital like she belonged there, like she owned the air we breathed. Meanwhile, I kept reliving last night's kiss. The softness, the heat, the way her fingers brushed my jaw like she'd done it 1,000 times. I tried to bury the memory. I had to. I was engaged. I had a future planned. But Avery made that future feel like a script I didn't write. By noon, I was hiding in my office. Door closed. Lights dimmed. Hands gripping the desk like I could restart my whole life by holding on tight enough. A knock. My heart dropped. Before I could answer, the door opened a crack, and a familiar voice slipped inside. "Meeting with the board starts in 10 minutes, Dr. Ward." I exhaled sharply. It was Mira, my friend, my colleague, and the only person who could see through me without trying. She stepped in, raising an eyebrow. "You look stressed." Like you saw a ghost, or a worse administration. I forced a smile. Just tired. She studied me, unconvinced. You've been off all morning. Something happened at the bachelorette party? My pulse jumped. I looked away. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Mira crossed her arms. Selene, I've known you for 10 years. You don't do absolutely nothing. It's always something. Before I could answer, the door opened again. This time it was Avery. She leaned against the frame, arms crossed casually, but her eyes locked onto me like she was already reading every heartbeat I tried to hide. Oh, Avery said with a polite smile. I didn't know you were busy. Mira turned, surprised. You're the new partner for the charity program? Avery nodded. Avery Hale, nice to meet you. Mira shook her hand, then shot me a look over her shoulder. One that screamed, since when do we have actresses walking around in here looking like that? Avery turned back to me. Dr. Ward, the board is waiting. Walk with me? My chest tightened. Mira mouthed silently. Who is she? Before slipping out of the office. Now it was just me and Avery. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. You're avoiding me. I'm not, I whispered. You are. A hint of a smirk. And it's adorable. I stepped back, needing space that didn't exist. Avery, last night was a mistake. She tilted her head. Is that what you really think? It shouldn't have happened. But it did. My breath caught. And you don't look like someone who regrets it, she added softly. I swallowed hard, my voice cracking. I'm engaged. I know. Her gaze softened but didn't back away. That doesn't change the truth. What truth? That you felt something. Silence. Dangerous, suffocating silence. Avery stepped even closer, her whisper brushing my ear. I'm not here to ruin your life, Selene. But I won't pretend that kiss meant nothing. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure she heard it. Come on, Avery said gently, stepping back at last. We have a meeting to survive. She walked out, and I stood there, breathless again, realizing that the most dangerous problem in my life was something I couldn't cut out with a scalpel. Boardroom meetings are usually predictable charts, statistics, budgets, everyone pretending not to hate each other. But today felt like sitting in an operating room where the patient was my sanity. Avery sat right beside me. Not across the table, not 2 seats away. Right beside me, and she knew exactly what she was doing. Her perfume warmed jasmine and midnight wrapped around me. Her knee brushed mine once, twice, and each time I felt my heartbeat stutter like a glitch in the system. I tried to focus on the slides Mira was presenting, but Avery leaned close enough for her whisper to melt into my ear. You haven't looked at me since we entered. Because I'm trying to work, I muttered. She smirked. I can multitask. I gripped my pen so tightly it almost cracked. When the hospital director started discussing the charity project, Avery straightened, suddenly all business. As you know, she began, our goal is to film a documentary series inside Ward Memorial, highlighting real stories of recovery. We want authenticity, compassion, and the heart of what this hospital represents. Her voice was smooth, confident, magnetic. The board loved her. Everyone nodded. Even I had to admit she was dangerously good at this. Then the director added, Dr. Ward will be our lead physician on camera, since cardiology is the primary focus of this project. Avery's eyes slid to me, slow and deliberate. Perfect, she said softly. We work well together. My pulse spiked. Mira kicked my foot under the table. Her silent message was clear. What is happening and why is she staring at you like that? I ignored her. The meeting wrapped up. People began leaving, and I breathed a sigh of relief until Avery placed a hand lightly on my forearm. Stay a moment, she murmured. My throat tightened. Avery, I can't keep having these conversations. This isn't a conversation, she said. It's an apology. I blinked. For what? For last night. For today. For making things harder than they need to be. Her voice was calm, sincere, no teasing this time. I didn't know you were getting married, Avery continued. If I had known, I would have never kissed you. My chest tightened painfully. I should have been relieved. I wasn't, and I won't cross that line again, she said firmly. You deserve peace. I looked at her, really looked at her. For the first time since meeting her, she wasn't smirking. She wasn't flirting. She wasn't trying to provoke me. She was just human. Avery, I whispered. She shook her head gently. You don't owe me anything. She picked up her script binder, forcing a polite smile. From now on, we work professionally. Clean slate. Something inside my chest twisted, a feeling I didn't want to name. She began walking toward the door, and that's when I felt it. The sudden irrational fear of her leaving. Wait, I blurted out. She stopped. I swallowed, hands trembling. I didn't say I wanted distance. Avery turned slowly, her eyes searching mine. Then what do you want, Selene? The answer sat on my tongue like poison and honey at the same time. I didn't say it. I couldn't. Instead, I whispered the safest lie I could manage. I don't know. Avery stepped closer, just one slow step. Then we'll figure it out, she murmured. Her voice didn't touch me. It unraveled me. Together, the afternoon shift felt heavier than usual. Or maybe it was just me. My thoughts, my pulse, my entire body tuned to the wrong frequency. Avery's frequency. I tried to lose myself in work. Patients, charts, procedures, things that followed rules, things that made sense. But every time I passed a reflective surface, I caught myself searching, not for stray hair or smudged eyeliner, but for her somewhere behind me. By 4 p.m., Mira cornered me near the supply room like a detective who already knew the truth. Spill it. I blinked. Spill what? Mira crossed her arms. Selene, please. I've watched you do a 14-hour surgery without blinking. But one actress walks in and suddenly you're dropping pens, zoning out and flinching every time someone says her name. I froze. She leaned closer. What happened at the party? Silence. I couldn't tell her not because I didn't trust her, but because saying it out loud made it real. Before I could lie, a familiar voice echoed down the hallway. Dr. Ward. Avery. She jogged toward us, holding a tablet. The moment she reached me, she smiled bright, warm, nothing like the teasing smirk she usually wore. I need to review the patient list with you before tomorrow's filming, she said. If you have a moment. Her professionalism was disarming. Too safe. Too kind. Too careful. It made my chest ache. Sure, I managed. Mira shot me a look that translated to "we're not done," then walked off. Avery led me into an empty conference room, closing the door halfway, not enough for privacy, but enough to create a bubble around us. "We don't need to talk about earlier," she said softly, tapping her tablet. "You looked overwhelmed." "I get it." "Thank you," I said, surprised by her gentleness. She sat beside me, showing me patient stories for the documentary. Children recovering from surgery, elderly women with new pacemakers, teenagers with congenital defects. "This one," she said, tapping a photo of a young girl smiling weakly. "She said meeting you changed how she views doctors." I blinked. "Me? You spoke to her like she wasn't broken." Avery smiled softly. "That's rare." Heat warmed my cheeks, the kind I couldn't control. Then her expression shifted, more hesitant, almost vulnerable. "Selene," she murmured, "I meant what I said. I'm not here to destroy your engagement or complicate your life." My breath caught. "But I won't apologize for feeling something when I'm with you." My pulse pounded in my ears. "Avery, you don't have to feel the same," she whispered. "But don't punish me for being honest." Her voice broke a little on the last word, and somehow that hurt more than anything else. "I'm not punishing you," I said. "You're terrified of me," she said softly. I opened my mouth to deny it, but the truth hung between us, too heavy to ignore. She looked down at her hands. "When I saw you this morning, I thought you'd scream at me, or hate me, or tell me last night meant nothing. But instead, you looked scared." "I'm not scared of you," I whispered. "Then what are you scared of?" Her eyes lifted, gentle, patient, searching. I swallowed hard. "I'm scared of what you make me feel." She inhaled sharply, the air between us tightening. When she spoke, her voice was barely a breath. "That makes two of us." Silence filled the room, thick and fragile. Avery didn't touch me. She didn't lean closer. She didn't break her promise. But the way she looked at me, soft, aching, careful, felt more dangerous than any kiss. Finally, she stood. "We should get back to work." I nodded, though my heart begged her to stay. As she reached the door, she paused. "Selene?" I looked up. "One day, you'll have to choose what kind of life you want, a beat, and who you want it with." Before I could answer, she slipped out, leaving me with a heart that refused to behave. If there's one thing medical school never taught me, it's how to handle a heart that refuses to follow instructions, especially when it's my own. The next day arrived too quickly. Camera crews filled the hallway. Nurses adjusted scrubs and makeup. Patients wore hesitant smiles for the documentary. Everything was louder, brighter, busier than usual. And yet, the loudest thing was the silence between me and Avery. She kept her word. No flirting, no teasing, no lingering touches that made it hard to breathe. Professional, composed, untouchable. It should have given me peace. It didn't. Every time she stood near me, pointing out camera angles or checking lighting, I felt a strange emptiness, like she had taken something back that I didn't realize I wanted. By noon, we were filming a segment with a teenage patient named Rosie, who'd just undergone open heart surgery. Rosie looked nervous until Avery knelt beside her, adjusting the mic. "You ready to be a star?" Avery asked gently. Rosie giggled. "Only if Dr. Ward stays beside me." I smiled, sitting on the edge of the bed as the cameras rolled. Rosie began talking about her surgery, her fears. how she thought she wouldn't survive. Then she suddenly turned to Avery. "Miss Avery?" "Yes, sweetheart." "Are you and Dr. Ward together?" My entire soul malfunctioned. The crew froze. Nurses choked on their own breath. Mira, who was watching from the corner, nearly dropped her clipboard. I felt my face burn. "Rosie." Avery laughed softly, shaking her head. "No, we're not." Relief should have washed over me. Instead, something sharp twisted in my chest. Rosie frowned. "But you look at each other like people in movies." The room erupted with muffled laughter. Even the cameraman snorted. Avery smiled, warm, effortless, but undeniably sad. "Some stories," she said gently, "aren't meant to be like the movies." Rosie studied her for a moment. "Do you like her?" My throat closed. I was ready to stop the filming. Ready to lie. Ready to run. But Avery just placed a hand over Rosie's and said softly, "I like her. Enough to wish her happiness, whatever that means for her." My heart dropped to my stomach. Rosie nodded like it was the most reasonable answer in the world. Kids had a way of understanding truths adults spend years avoiding. After filming, the crew dispersed. Rosie waved goodbye. Mira smirked at me like she just found a juicy secret. But Avery? Avery walked away quickly, like she needed distance. I followed her without thinking. "Avery!" I called, catching up to her near the stairwell. She stopped, shoulders tense, but didn't turn yet. "Avery," I repeated, softer this time. Finally, she faced me. Her eyes were guarded, her smile paper thin. She looked like she was bracing for impact. "That answer," I said quietly. "In Rosie's room." "I didn't want to make things harder for you," she said. "But you meant it." A flicker of pain crossed her face. "I do, and that's the problem." My breath hitched. "I didn't want you to pull away." "You're getting married, Selene." Her voice cracked. "I'm supposed to pull away." I stepped closer before I could stop myself. "Avery." She shook her head, her voice low and rough. "You're kind. You're brilliant. You save people for a living. And the more I talk to you, the more I..." She stopped herself, the words trembling on her lips. The silence held us like a tight thread. "I don't want to be a complication," she whispered. "I don't want to ruin your life." "You're not ruining anything," I said, too fast, too honest. She exhaled shakily, looking away. "Then why does it feel like wanting you is a sin?" My pulse thundered. Because it was. Because it wasn't. Because everything about this was wrong, except how she made me feel. "I don't know," I whispered. "But I don't want this distance between us." Her eyes lifted to mine, raw, hopeful, afraid. "Then what are we doing?" Avery asked. "What am I to you?" I opened my mouth and froze. Footsteps echoed down the hallway. A familiar voice called out, "Selene?" "Leo, my fiancé." Avery went still. Her eyes dimmed, her posture tightening like a wall slamming into place. Leo walked toward us, smiling innocently. "I came to surprise you. Didn't know we were filming today." He kissed my cheek. Avery stepped back. Too far, too fast. "Dr. Ward," she said sharply, slipping back into formal tone. "I'll see you in the next segment." And then she walked away, didn't look back, didn't breathe my name, didn't let herself want anything. And I stood there, Leo's hand in mine. Avery's absence ringing louder than her presence ever did, with a heart beating for the wrong person. The worst part wasn't Avery walking away. It was how the hallway felt different without her. Too quiet, too cold, too painfully normal. Leo kept talking beside me. Something about lunch, about taking me home early, about how he missed me. But I heard none of it. Not when my chest felt like it was collapsing in slow motion. "I didn't know you had visitors today," Leo said, looping an arm around my waist. I forced a smile. It was a last-minute shoot. He kissed the top of my head, unaware that my entire body was tense, unaware that someone else's name was echoing beneath every heartbeat, unaware that just moments ago, Avery Hale looked at me like I was both miracle and punishment. The rest of the afternoon blurred. I sat beside Leo in the cafeteria, but my eyes kept drifting to the door. Not for a patient, not for a nurse, for her, for the way she'd look at me if she walked in, warm, careful, fragile beneath the surface. But she didn't come. Not once. Leo was still talking about wedding plans, colors, venues, the guest list. Things I should have cared about, things I used to care about. But my mind was in the stairwell replaying Avery's voice. "Why does it feel like wanting you is a sin?" Because I made it one. Because I didn't know how to want her without breaking everything else. When Leo finally left for a meeting, I exhaled for the first time in hours. The hallway was quiet as I walked toward the elevators. Halfway there, I heard rushed footsteps behind me. My heart jumped. I turned, expecting her, needing her. But it was Mira. "Selene," she said, grabbing my wrist. "We need to talk." "Mira, not now." "Yes, now." She dragged me into an empty supply room and shut the door with the urgency of someone who found the missing piece of a puzzle. "What is going on between you and that actress?" I stiffened. "Mira, you think I don't notice?" She crossed her arms. "You avoid looking at her like she's sunlight. She avoids speaking to you like it hurts. And when Leo showed up, Avery looked like she was breaking inside." I swallowed hard. "Nothing is going on." "Liar." Her voice softened. "You love medicine too much to lie convincingly." I sank against the counter, exhausted. Mira sighed. "Selene, are you in trouble?" I closed my eyes. "No, just confused." "About her?" My silence was answer enough. Before Mira could say more, my phone buzzed. Not a call, a message from Avery. "Filming for the last segment is starting in 10. Take your time. I'll manage it until you get here." Professional, distant, safe. It hurt more than any confession. Mira saw the notification and raised a brow. "That's her, isn't it?" I pocketed my phone. "I should go." "Selene." But I had already opened the door. When I reached the pediatric wing, I froze. Avery was filming with a little boy named Callum, who had a heart transplant. She sat beside him on the floor, cross-legged, letting him place stickers on her shirt while the crew laughed quietly. She looked not like a celebrity, not like the woman who kissed me, not like the woman who ran from me this afternoon. She looked good, kind, gentle, unreachable in the worst way. Callum pressed a dinosaur sticker onto her cheek, and Avery laughed. A soft, real laugh I hadn't heard before. Something in my chest cracked open. I realized then, she wasn't poison. She wasn't danger. She was possibility. Possibility I wasn't allowed to want. The moment she saw me at the doorway, her smile faded just a flicker, then returned for the cameras. But her eyes told me everything. "This hurts. I'm trying. Please don't come closer. Unless you mean it." The filming ended. Callum hugged her. The crew clapped. Avery stood, dusting off her blazer. I took one step toward her. Avery. She shook her head once. Not angry, not cold. Just protecting whatever was left of her heart. Not here, she whispered. Not right now. Then she walked past me, and the space she left behind felt like a wound I didn't know how to close. Couldn't focus for the rest of the day. Leo chattered about wedding plans, colors, venues, guest lists, but my mind was somewhere else. Every word he said felt like a reminder of what I shouldn't want, of the life I was supposed to live. And yet every thought kept drifting back to Avery. The way she looked at me earlier. The way she had smiled at Rosie. The way she walked away from me just now. Protecting herself. Protecting me, or maybe both. I tried to tell myself that this distance would help. That keeping away from her was the right thing. But the truth was sharper than any scalpel I'd ever held. I didn't want distance. Later, Mira found me sitting alone in the staff lounge. Her sharp eyes immediately saw through my calm facade. "You've been off all day," she said, sliding into the chair across from me. "It's her, isn't it?" I opened my mouth to deny it, but the truth, heavy and undeniable, settled on my tongue. "She's complicated," I admitted finally. Mira leaned back, nodding knowingly. "Yeah, but that's the thing about people like Avery. They don't just walk into your life and leave. They leave pieces behind." I swallowed, feeling the weight of her words. Mira wasn't wrong. Every time Avery was near, every little smile, every word she left something I couldn't ignore. My phone buzzed. A message. "Filming for the next segment is starting in 10 minutes. Take your time, Avery." Professional, distant, safe. I tucked the phone into my pocket, trying to steady my racing heartbeat. But Mira's knowing look stayed with me, a silent reminder that I couldn't run from what I felt. Because Avery had already claimed something. I couldn't give back even if I wanted to. I arrived at the pediatric wing, my chest tight, palms sweaty. The filming was already underway. Avery was kneeling beside a young boy, Callum, helping him place stickers on his hospital gown. She laughed softly, her warmth spilling into the sterile room. She didn't notice me at first, and that brief moment of watching her so gentle, so alive it made my chest ache in a way I hadn't expected. Finally, her gaze found mine. That soft, piercing look that made me forget how to breathe. She smiled for the cameras, but her eyes told a different story. Pain, restraint, longing. I stepped closer, my voice barely a whisper. "Avery." She shook her head, just a fraction. "Not here," she murmured. "Not now." But the weight of her words, or maybe the weight of her absence, hit me harder than anything. The space she left felt bigger than the room itself. The crew finished the segment. Callum waved goodbye. Mira smirked at me knowingly. And Avery? She walked past me, professional, composed, untouchable. I swallowed the ache in my chest, forcing myself to focus on the patient charts in my hand, but it was useless. The taste of her, the pull of her presence lingered like a memory I couldn't erase. Every heartbeat screamed for the wrong person. I realized then, I didn't want her to leave. I didn't want to forget her. And yet I couldn't have her not fully, not ever, not without destroying everything I thought I wanted. Because Avery wasn't just danger, she was possibility. And some possibilities were poison. The night fell heavy over the city, but the hospital never truly slept. Hallways buzzed with monitors and the quiet shuffling of nurses, a steady rhythm that should have calmed me. Instead, it made my thoughts louder. I couldn't stop replaying the afternoon over and over, the way Avery looked at me, the way she smiled at Rosie, the way she walked away from me when Leo showed up. It wasn't just that I wanted her. It was that I needed her presence, her warmth, her chaos in my carefully ordered life. I tried to focus on my rounds, checking vitals, adjusting medications, but my mind kept slipping, imagining her hand brushing mine, imagining her soft laughter in the quiet corners of the hospital, imagining a life where I could look at her without guilt, without fear. "Dr. Ward?" I froze. Avery stood in the doorway, clipboard in hand, looking impossibly calm. Her presence made the fluorescent lights too bright, the monitors too loud, my heartbeat painfully obvious. "I need you for a quick consultation on the pediatric wing," she said. I nodded, trying to sound professional. "Of course." We walked side by side, silent at first, each step making my pulse quicken. Finally, I couldn't hold it in. "Avery, why do you do this to me?" She tilted her head as if considering the question carefully. "Do what?" "Make me feel like I don't know, living in two worlds at once. Like I'm suffocating but also alive." Her lips curved in the faintest smile. "Maybe that's because you are, Selene. Maybe that's because you've been pretending to live a life you don't want." Her words struck me harder than any reprimand, harder than any warning. "I can't," I whispered. "I can't let myself feel this way. Not with Leo, not with you." Avery's eyes softened, but there was a fire in them too. "And yet you do. Every time I'm near, your heart betrays you. Every time you see me, you know the truth you refuse to speak aloud." I couldn't respond. My hands were trembling, my body betraying me in ways I had spent years controlling. She reached out, almost imperceptibly brushing my shoulder as she passed by me. The touch lingered, a spark in the cold hospital air. "I won't pretend this is easy," she murmured, stepping back. "But you need to face what you want, before it's too late." And just like that, she was gone, leaving me in the hallway, heart racing, hands clammy, realizing that secrets were no longer safe, because every heartbeat was a confession, every glance a temptation, and Avery had become the truth I couldn't ignore. The next morning, I walked into the hospital feeling like I was carrying a storm in my chest. Every step echoed in the sterile hallways. Every breath reminded me of Avery, her laugh, her touch. The way she made me feel like I was both alive and broken at the same time. Leo was waiting at the elevator, cheerful and oblivious. "Good morning, Selene. I was hoping we could have breakfast before rounds." I forced a smile. "Morning, Leo. I think I need to get to the ward first." He nodded, but I could see the slight confusion in his eyes, the one I was too afraid to explain. By the time I reached the pediatric wing, Avery was already there. Clipboard in hand, reviewing charts. The way she moved, effortless, precise, calm, made me feel like I was standing in the middle of a storm, completely exposed. "Selene," she said softly, looking up. "You're late." I got caught up," I stammered, trying to steady my pulse. She tilted her head, her eyes scanning mine, and for a second, it felt like she could see everything: the lies, the desires, the guilt I had been carrying. "We need to review the filming schedule," she said, keeping her voice professional. But the way she said it wasn't just business. It was a challenge, a dare, a whisper of danger I couldn't resist. As we worked, Leo's voice echoed down the hallway. "Selene, wait up!" Avery's body stiffened slightly. I felt my own muscles tense. Leo approached, smiling warmly. "There you are. You've been hiding from me again?" I swallowed hard, caught between two worlds. I just got busy," I murmured. Avery's eyes flicked toward him, guarded, calculating. The subtle shift in her posture didn't go unnoticed by me. Leo leaned closer, brushing my shoulder gently. "Everything okay?" The warmth of his touch should have comforted me. Instead, it made my heart ache. The ache for someone else, someone I couldn't have. Avery spoke up, calm but cutting through the tension like a scalpel. "Dr. Ward, Leo, we need to focus. We have a schedule to keep." Her gaze met mine, intense and unwavering. It was a look that said, "I know what you feel. I know what you want, but I won't fight you, not yet." Leo smiled awkwardly and stepped back, leaving me in the charged space between two people I cared for in completely different ways. After he left, Avery turned to me, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Selene, you can't keep doing this, pretending everything is normal when it isn't." "I don't know what to do," I admitted, the truth spilling out like blood from a wound. "You need to choose," she said, eyes dark and serious. "Because every day you wait, every day you pretend, it's breaking you." Her words cut deeper than any scalpel ever could. And just like that, I realized I was standing on the edge of a cliff, heart divided, love impossible, and I could no longer hide from the truth, because Avery wasn't just a complication. She was the one I had always wanted, even if I couldn't have her. The hospital was quieter than usual that afternoon. The chaos of patients, nurses, and equipment faded into the background as I made my rounds. My mind a whirlwind of guilt, longing, and confusion. Every time I passed a reflective surface, I caught a glimpse of myself, and it wasn't me I recognized. It was someone torn apart by desire, by choices, by a heart that refused to follow the rules. I finally found myself in the conference room, alone, reviewing patient files. The door opened quietly, and Avery stepped in, clipboard in hand. Her presence making the fluorescent lights seem too bright, too sharp. "You've been avoiding me all day," she said softly, closing the door behind her. "I'm not avoiding you," I replied, though my voice faltered. Her gaze didn't waver. "Selene, you can't pretend your heart doesn't know the truth. Every glance, every word, every silence, you're giving yourself away." I swallowed hard. I'm trying. I can't, this isn't simple. "I have responsibilities." Avery stepped closer, and for the first time that day, her professional mask slipped. Her eyes softened, but there was a fire burning behind them. "Responsibilities don't make the heart obey, Selene. You can't ignore what you feel. Not forever." Her words cut through the careful walls I'd built. I wanted to argue, to deny, to push her away, but I couldn't. The truth was too raw, too sharp. "I don't want to hurt anyone," I whispered. "You've already been hurt," she said, voice barely audible. "And you'll hurt more if you keep pretending." I closed my eyes, letting the silence stretch between us. It was heavy, suffocating, full of words we didn't dare say. And yet, in that silence, everything was said. Avery reached out, brushing a stray lock of hair from my face. Her touch was electric, gentle, devastating. "Selene," she murmured, "we can't keep living like this." "Not for long." I opened my eyes, meeting hers. The intensity of her gaze pinned me in place. My chest ached with every unspoken word, every forbidden feeling. I don't know what to do, I confessed, my voice trembling. Then let's figure it out, she whispered, stepping back slightly. Together, and for the first time, the impossible felt just a little possible. The hospital felt different. Every corner, every hallway, every soft beep of a monitor seemed charged with tension. I was hyper-aware of Avery's presence, the way she moved, the way her laughter floated softly down the corridors, the way her gaze occasionally caught mine, sharp and knowing. Leo, on the other hand, remained blissfully unaware of the storm brewing between us. He held my hand in the cafeteria like it was the most natural thing in the world, talking about wedding plans as if the world itself were simple. I wanted to pull away from him, to tell him everything, to stop this charade, but the words wouldn't come. I was trapped between two lives, two hearts, and one inevitable truth. I wanted Avery. Filming that day was intense. We were documenting a pediatric patient recovering from heart surgery, a young girl named Lila who clung to Avery's hand the entire time. Her innocent questions about life, survival, and courage reminded me why I became a doctor in the first place. And then Avery looked at me. Not for the cameras, not for the crew, just at me. It was brief, a flicker, but it stopped my heart mid-beat. Avery, I whispered, stepping closer. She raised a finger gently. Not now, she said softly, her eyes betraying the longing she refused to voice aloud. The filming continued. Every smile, every laugh, every careful motion of hers felt like a test I was failing. I wanted to hold her hand, to brush her hair behind her ear, to tell her everything I felt, but I couldn't. Not here. Not now. After the segment ended, we walked side by side in the hallway, silent. I can't keep pretending, I finally said. Every moment with you feels alive, dangerous, wrong, and yet I can't stop wanting it. She stopped, her back to me, shoulders tense. Selene, this isn't just about wanting. This is life, responsibility, promises. You're engaged. You're supposed to be happy with him. I'm happy, I said softly, though the lie tasted bitter. But it's a happiness that feels hollow when you're near. She turned, eyes glistening with something between frustration and longing. And I can't give you what you want. Not fully, not without breaking you, and myself. The hallway felt smaller, the air heavier. I reached out instinctively, my fingers brushing hers. She didn't pull away, but she didn't move closer either. Then why do we keep doing this to each other? I asked, voice trembling. Because we can't stop, she admitted. And that's what makes this dangerous. Her words were a warning, a confession, a temptation I couldn't resist. And in that moment, I realized danger had never felt so intoxicating. The hospital was quieter than usual that evening. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Monitors beeped softly in the distance, and I walked the hallways like a ghost, half distracted, half consumed by thoughts of Avery. Leo had left earlier for a late meeting, leaving me with an uneasy sense of relief, and a hollow ache that no amount of routine or work could fill. I found myself near the stairwell, my phone buzzing incessantly. I hesitated, then glanced at the screen. A message from Avery. Meet me here, now. My pulse spiked. My fingers trembled as I locked the chart room door behind me and hurried toward the stairwell, heart hammering in my chest. Avery was already there, leaning against the railing, rain streaks from the earlier downpour still dampening her hair. Her expression was unreadable, equal parts frustration, longing, and restraint. "You shouldn't be here," I said, though my voice betrayed me. "I shouldn't," she admitted, taking a careful step closer. "But I can't stay away either." Her words were a confession, a surrender, and it hit me harder than any warning could. "I can't," I said, my voice breaking. "Leo, my life. It's complicated. You're dangerous to me, Avery. You're everything I can't have." And yet, I swallowed hard, letting the weight of my words settle. "And yet I want you more than anything." Her eyes softened, glimmering in the dim stairwell light. She reached out, brushing her thumb against my cheek. The touch was electric, burning and tender all at once. "Selene," she whispered, "I know, I feel it too, but every time we're together, it feels like we're walking a line we can't cross without falling." "I don't care," I breathed. "I don't care about falling. I only care about you." For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to just us two hearts beating too fast. Hands brushing, breaths mingling. Then the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoed behind us. Leo. My stomach twisted. Avery stiffened, eyes flashing with urgency. "We can't," she started, but it was too late. Leo's voice called out, warm and unsuspecting. "Selene, are you still here?" I froze, trapped between two lives, two hearts, two impossible choices. Avery pressed her hand gently against mine. "Promise me, you'll be careful," she whispered. "And promise me, you won't let him see this." I nodded silently, feeling the weight of her words crush me from the inside. As Leo's footsteps drew closer, Avery stepped back, professional once more, slipping into the mask of the untouchable woman the world saw. And I was left standing there, heart split in two, knowing the dangerous truth. I couldn't have Avery, and yet I couldn't stop wanting her. The next morning felt like walking on glass. Every sound, every step, every shadow in the hospital seemed magnified, sharpened, impossible to ignore. My heart was still trapped in the stairwell with Avery, replaying the brush of her hand, the heat of her gaze, the words we didn't speak aloud. Leo met me at the elevator, smiling like nothing had changed. "Good morning, Selene." "Busy day ahead?" I nodded, forcing a calm I didn't feel. "Yes, a full schedule." He took my hand, and for a moment I imagined letting him pull me into the life I was supposed to live. But the second his touch brushed my skin, I felt Avery's absence like a void in my chest. Filming resumed in the pediatric wing. Avery moved gracefully among the children, laughter spilling softly as she guided them through each scene. Her presence was magnetic, intoxicating, and painfully untouchable. I found myself constantly on the edge of saying something, anything, but every time I opened my mouth, the words stuck. My heart wanted to leap into her arms. My mind screamed for caution. Finally, during a quiet moment, Avery approached me alone. The world around us seemed to vanish. "Selene," she whispered, voice low, urgent. "We can't keep doing this in fragments. The more we deny it, the worse it will hurt." "I know," I said, my voice trembling. "I feel it too. But everything is complicated. Leo, my life, my responsibilities." Her eyes softened, but the fire never dimmed. "Selene, life is complicated. Desire is dangerous, but I won't hide from you anymore. Not when I know what we could have." My breath caught. "Avery, She stepped closer, hand reaching for mine, and for a heartbeat the world stopped. And then the elevator chimed. Leo's voice called from the hall. "Selene, are you ready?" Avery's hand lingered for a second longer, our fingers brushing before she pulled away. Her expression hardened, professional once more, untouchable and distant. I watched her walk away, feeling the impossible pull of longing twist inside me. Every beat of my heart screamed for her. Every part of me wanted to break the rules, to defy the world. But fear, duty, and reality held me back. As I followed Avery's departing figure, I realized with a sinking certainty I was standing on the edge of desire, and one wrong move could destroy everything. Yet no matter how dangerous it was, I couldn't stop wanting her. The day of the final shoot arrived, heavy and tense, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. The hospital corridors were alive with activity, but I barely noticed. Every step toward the pediatric wing was measured. Careful, each heartbeat louder than the last. Avery was already there, speaking softly to a child. Her laughter a haunting melody I couldn't pull out of my mind. She looked up briefly, eyes meeting mine, and for a fleeting moment, the world stopped. I wanted to run to her, to grab her hand, to finally let go of everything holding me back. But the moment shattered when Leo's familiar presence loomed beside me. "Selene," he said, smiling warmly. "Ready for the last segment?" I nodded, though the lie felt bitter on my tongue. Avery's gaze softened just for a second, before she returned to the professional mask she always wore when the cameras rolled. The filming began. Children laughed, parents smiled, cameras clicked. Avery guided each scene with precision, grace, and that ineffable warmth that drew me in against all reason. Every glance she cast in my direction was a reminder of the impossible truth. I wanted her, and nothing else mattered. Finally, during a quiet moment, she approached me. The hall was empty except for us. "Selene," she whispered, voice trembling. "This us cannot continue like this. You have a life, a future, and I cannot ask you to throw it all away for me." "I don't want to throw it away," I said, my voice shaking. I don't know how to live without you." Her eyes filled with pain, the kind of pain that cuts deeper than any heartbreak I had ever known. "Then choose wisely," she said, "because once the choice is made, there's no turning back." And then Leo appeared again, unwittingly, smiling, holding the folder of final scripts. "Selene, everything okay?" Avery stepped back, her hand brushing mine one last time, a spark. A promise, a goodbye all at once. My chest ached with the impossible weight of love, duty, and desire. I realized that no matter what I chose, something inside me would be broken. I looked at Leo, then at Avery. 2 lives, 2 hearts, and one truth I couldn't ignore. I had loved Avery from the start. But life doesn't always allow you to hold what you truly want. So I made the choice I thought I had to make. I took a step toward Leo, my heart shattering with every fiber of my being, and whispered, I have to try." Avery's eyes glimmered one last time, unreadable and full of sorrow, before she turned and walked away, leaving me with the life I was supposed to live and the love I would never stop feeling. The story of Selene and Avery reminds us that love isn't always simple. Sometimes the heart wants what it shouldn't, and the choices we make leave echoes that never fade. Thank you for listening, a tale of longing, temptation, and the impossible pull between hearts. If you felt every moment with them, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more heartfelt WLW stories. Which character's struggle touched you the most, Selene or Avery? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, sometimes love is a risk worth taking, even if it hurts.